What's up, guys? It's your boy Master B here, back again with a new discussion video. Now, I decided that I wanted to do said on my channel description I'm gonna do discussion videos. And I thought, what perfect timing! Even though I'm like 5 days late on this, I just want to give you guys my thoughts and opinions on the new Chronofang stuff, or like I like to call this new card, Rehashed Rebellion Dragon. Rehashed Rebellion. Now, basically, what this new freaking Chrono Tiger Stride does is act once per turn, Vanguard. Soul Blast 1 and G-Flip 1 of him. And then he gains... I have to look up the thing. I don't remember off the top of my head. His skill is Soul Blast 1 and choose one face-down card in your G-Zone, the same name as this card, and flip it face-up, obviously. If a Gear Beast Heart, choose any number of your opponent's... Give me a minute. Choose any number of your opponent's rearguards with total grades are equal to or less than the number of cards in your bind zone, and your opponent places them on the bottom of their deck in any order. And then he has continuous GB3. If there are 5 or more cards in your bind zone, this unit gains plus 10,000 power, and if there are 7 or more, it gains plus 1 critical, 9 or more, it gains plus 1 drive check. Like I said, rehashed Chrono Tiger Rebellion. Now, is this a bad thing? I'm still trying to figure that out. It's called Chrono Tiger Gear Glare. Now, an upside to this is Chronofang didn't really have a first turn stride, besides the obvious of Warp Drive or Alter Dragon, if you have to. So, I guess in the sense of, yes, it's an okay first turn stride. You wouldn't really use it to be a first turn stride. It's one of those build-up cards that they've been making a lot lately with strides. Like, they made one with Ziesenberg. He's a build-up card, where if he can be used as a first stride, or he can be used as a finisher stride of his GB3. This is also a build-up card, but it has more layers of build-up, because you have to have 5 or more in your bind zone for it to gain plus 10k, 7 or more to get the crit, and 9 or more to drive check. Now, the way pure Chronofang deck is set up is that it doesn't bind that many cards that fast early game. And most of the time, I really don't have that many cards in my bind zone, because obviously I want to bind key cards like Nani, or I want to bind the dragon, because I can get those things out of my bind zone. So most of the time, you don't have a really built-up bind zone to abuse this guy's skill. Well, that's why they created this grade 1 support card, which is called Steam Link's Enemy. Now, Enemy has an auto skill of, when this unit's retired from rear guard or guard circle, you can bind this card face up. I guess that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. You guard with it, put it in the bind zone or from rear guard, retire it when it gets retired, I guess, or like you call over it. But the real kicker here is what you play for is Act, Bind Zone, CB1. When this unit's placed in the drop zone, bind the top 2 cards. Place it in the drop zone and bind the top 2 cards of your deck face up. Choose 2 of your units in the game plus 3k. So obviously they made this card to make the new, overly complicated Chrono Tiger Gear Glare playable. Mildly playable. You need 9 for it to gain all the effects of Chrono Tiger Rebellion. Now, granted, if there are more cards that bind, if they're supporting more cards that bind in the future for Chronofang Tiger, then that'll be good for the deck. But I don't really see them, you know, giving Chronofang Tiger anything more than what they have right here, because this is a common, and this is a double rare. So I doubt Chronofang Tiger is going to get that much more support than what it has right here. They only dished out a little bit of support to say, hey, Chronojet is not the only deck you could play. Technically, you could still play Chronofang, even though it's vastly worse than Chronojet, but hey, Gear Chronicle has more decks. I'm just really kind of disappointed in this card, even though it's not that bad of a card. But I'm disappointed in that they rehashed instead of taking the opportunity to grow Chronofang, to give it something more. They couldn't even self-enable this card. You can't bind the top card of your deck or bind as many from your drop zone, or like the top of your deck or drop zone as face-up G units. Face-up G units, or face-up Zodiac Time Beast G units even. So, like, it doesn't self-enable, which means you're gonna have to build you're building your deck around this card to be able to get it off, where Chrono Tiger Rebellion can get beefier, does the same thing, except you put 2 cards in the bind zone. So it's this Chrono Tiger Rebellion self-enables. If you guys don't know what Chrono Tiger Rebellion does, it has a continuous plus 5k for each 2 cards in your bind zone. And then it's auto GB2 when it attacks. Soul Blast 1, choose a face-down Chrono Tiger Rebellion, and for your G zone, turn it face up. Bind 1 from field and bind 1 from hand. And he gains quad drive and a crit. Now this is a good card, because it self-enables, because you're automatically going to get that 5k because you just put 2 cards in the bind zone, and it right off the bat, just for being at GB2, this is GB2 skill, you get quad drive and a crit. Now this card's GB3 to gain plus 10. This card needs to be at GB3 and 9 cards in the bind zone for you to get plus 10k, a crit, and quad drive. That's crazy. This card is... I hate to say it, but this card's really bad. Unless they give it some really, really good support cards, this card will... It's sad to say, it probably will see play as a 2-of, but probably not as a 4-of in any Chronofang Tiger deck. It'll probably be seen play as a 2-of, as either a first turn stride or a last gambit stride, really, because its ability of granted, it has the ability of putting cards from your opponent's field to the bottom of their deck, but guess what? Interdimensional Dragon, Bind Time Dragon does the same thing, essentially does the same thing for G-Flip 1 and Soul Charge 2. I'm saying that because of its Counter Blast 2 and Soul Blast 1 ability doesn't matter if you have a Gear Beast Heart. And you just bind cards from you. All you have to do is bind 1, and for each card up to 1, well, 1 and up, and then you put cards from your opponent's field at the bottom of their deck for each card in your bind zone, and it gains plus 10k and a crit, and that's only GB2. So they kind of this is what Bushiroad R&D did. They took a little bit of bind time, a little bit of rebellion, cut that shit in half, made it a card. Now, I'm sorry if I'm sounding really aggressive about this, but it's really not that good of a card. Now Nani, on the other hand, is a really, really good one. The support card Nani, obviously. But the grade 1... Now, the grade 1, on the other hand, will still see play in Chronofang decks. I will probably play this at Steam Link's Eamon at a 4-of, just for Bind Zone Acceleration. For a simple fact of Bind Zone Acceleration, I think that card will definitely see play in your Chronofang decks, but what we're really missing in Chronofang are some more grade 2s, guys. That's what really we're missing in Chronofang, really. We need some more solid grade 2 units. Like, essentially right now, you have space in Chronofang to run any grade 2s that you want besides Nani. And, you know, obviously, we're still running, what's his name? History Maker. But you have free privilege of, like, running anything else. Obviously, we run in our deck Shagkusa and, like, 2 of anything else, because it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't. You can run anything in there. Granted that anything most of the time doesn't really make a difference in the deck. We need this is what Chronofang, one thing Chronofang needs. Obviously, it needs more draw power. So a grade 2 that can give Chronofang consistent draw power and is a Zodiac Time Beast, but is Chronofang Pacific. It has to be Chronofang Pacific so that, or something that has to do with like having a lot of cards in the bind zone, so Chrono Jet cannot abuse the shit out of that card like he did with Urwater, and now the deck Chronofang never had a chance because Urwater was limited to 1, which Urwater was not even a problem to begin with. But, you know, that's how the cookie crumbles, and that's why people don't play Chronofang, because Chronofang deck needs 4 Urwater, guys. I'm playing 4 draw triggers to compensate, but the deck really needs... If I didn't have to, I'd run like freaking 5 stand and like 7 crit if I didn't have to run draws, if I had Waters in the deck. But the deck... Oh, guys, I don't know what to tell you. I really hope Bushiroad like steps up their game with Chronofang, or he's just gonna get lost. He's just gonna be down in the dust, a forgotten archetype that they never really fully fleshed out to its fullest potential. Now, granted, I am happy to see support for this deck. I might still keep this deck. I've been thinking about selling it. I'm going to see whether or not it's worth it. It looks like it kind of will be. I'm still heads or tailsing on whether or not I should take this deck to... I should still, like, you know, keep this deck and, like, take it to a competitive scene, but we're gonna see. We're gonna see this Saturday whether or not we can still do that with this deck. Anyways, guys, I think that's all I have to really say about the new cards of the new Chronofang support cards. The grade 1's really good. The stride is meh. A first stride at best, in all honesty. And even though there are better things to do. So yeah, remember to like, comment, subscribe down below, and I will be doing, because I don't have all the cards. I'm legit missing 2 cards, guys, for the stride zone. So I'm just... Well, 3 cards, actually. I'm missing 3 cards for the stride zone, so what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm just going to do another area deck profile. I'm just going to do another area deck profile real quick and simple and give you guys my little rundown